Welcome to the fourth installment of Sports from the Stool. As you can see, we actually have stools for the first time, so it's a monumental occasion for the show. Today we're going to talk about steroids in sports, and I guess after the revelations of Mark McGwire that he used steroids throughout his home run bashing years, it's kind of been a hot topic here. Greg, what do you think about the whole issue? What are your thoughts on the whole steroid issue in baseball?
Well, it's not necessarily, it is what it was in the 90s as far as the steroids go. What I have a problem with is these sort of veiled and contrived apologies and admissions, far after the fact. Like, it sort of reeks of, unsincerity as far as, these people coming forward, and some of the arguments that they use is a little bit very light, to say the least. I mean, we're saying somewhere here with Mark McGwire as a skinny rookie hitting 40 home runs. I just don't understand how you get the argument from someone saying that they need steroids.
I think the whole argument back in the 90s was, all these guys were getting gigantic monster contracts, and they need to live up to their contracts. McGwire came out and said that himself, and Alex Rodriguez was in the same boat. Someone else like Barry Bonds, I think it was all based on performance. He just wanted to be the greatest of all time, and he did, he wanted to do anything that he could to achieve that. I think some of the other guys had a little more maybe noble reasons for doing it, especially McGwire. They said he had 49 home runs as a rookie. He didn't need it to enhance his performance. He just needed to live up to his contract and maybe get healed from injuries a little faster. So still not a great excuse, but at least it was a little more justified with Mark McGwire, I feel.
Well, and again, people are saying that living up to their contracts. Well, I just want to point something out to you guys right here, and it's a guy named Fernando Valenzuela, and if you look at his body type, I don't think he's a guy that ever took steroids. Only player to be Rookie of the Year and win the Cy Young in the same year.
Not unless his cheeseburgers were laced with steroids. But,
well, exactly.
Not, yeah.
And you see a player like Babe Ruth. Pre-game diets of beer and hot dogs and all that. Like, I just don't buy
it. It's amazing how many home runs Babe Ruth hit with steroids. Amazing.
Well, exactly, and so that's why the whole performance angle doesn't really wash. And I know a lot of people were saying that, well, my job may have been on the line if I don't take steroids. Well, I guess that's the same. That only counts for marginal players. I
think there might have been a few players that were in that boat that, I think back in that era, if you weren't hitting 15, 20 home runs, you were seen as not of a, kind of a bit player. But there were certainly some players like, Brady Anderson, who would all of a sudden hit 50 home runs out of the blue, where you knew something was terribly wrong. But there were certainly some players that were on the fringe that took steroids that probably were in the majors that probably shouldn't have been.
And I guess it's more of as a fan, it's a performance issue or it's a morality issue. It's either in between. If you don't mind a juiced up guy hitting 60 home runs and that's what you paid the money to go see, then I guess that's fine. But I guess it's another sort of slippery slope where I have problems with people saying that, well, everyone else was doing it, so I better do it as well. So it's more for me a morality issue than it is a sports performance issue.
Yeah,
So
I understand. But and then again, look at football. Maybe they don't have a stringent drug policy in football, but how many of those football players in the NFL are on steroids? You look at a guy like Donovan McNabb of the Eagles. You look at him. His head is huge. His arms are unbelievably huge. You can't tell me some guys like that aren't on steroids. And maybe for football, that's what we pay for. We pay for big, huge players going out there bashing each other, and that's what we pay for. That's what we want. Would football be as exciting with people not on steroids? I don't know, maybe not. But you can't tell me that a percentage of NFL players are not on steroids. I don't know how that's possible. That's not possible.
Again, I guess I'll just conclude my argument saying again it's a morality issue. I just can't understand someone saying that will a sport be as exciting? Well,
no.
So what about all the fans of teams pre-steroid era? Was no one coming out to games then? Of course they were. I
think it's now a lot of athletes want to catch up with their fellow athlete. You see a guy across from you lining up that's got 26-inch arms, and you're thinking, well, what do I have to do to compete with this guy? And you're right, it is wrong. It has to start at the grassroots level. Our high school coaches and college coaches have to start enforcing this, and it's a tough thing to legislate, but it's got to stop. It's got to stop.
So, anyways, I guess this is Greg Price.
I'm Garrett Simmons.
And we'll see you again from the Stool.